Thank you for coming back for part two of our Elvis 45 RPM vinyl records collection. This isn't the complete collection. I didn't get that spit out in the first episode. This is just what I had in my last remaining mixed boxes, and I did have one box that was just all Elvis that I had bought one day at the flea market. And we're picking up here in part two with Return to Sender from the movie Girls, Girls, Girls. And the B side of this is also from that same film. Where do you come from? Well, you come from the movie Girls, Girls, Girls. But you can see this is a gold standard. So here again, we've got another one of these reissue 45s. But I've spoken lots about my feelings about editions, and I don't care if it's an original or reissue. If I can throw it on my turntable and listen to it, I'm happy to have it on the 45s. So I'm not a serious collector. I'm not just a first edition only, which we've discussed lots about how difficult that can be to identify a true first edition anyways. But moving on here, we've got our next 45 up being a song called One Night, which isn't an Elvis Presley song that I'm real familiar with. And the B side, or possibly the A side, being a song called I Got Stung. So, don't really know which one was the A or the B there. Not familiar with either song. But I do know this next one. This next one is Now and Then There's a Fool Such as I. Elvis Presley, and there we go with the Jordanaires again. We've got that credit on there. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And the B side being I Need Your Love Tonight, or possibly the A side. I'm not sure. But I do think that A Fool Such as I would have been the A side, because I do think I remember that song. Now here's another one where we've got two copies. You can clearly see this one has a ton of stacker wear. You know, they'd stack them up on a spindle, and then they'd drop them down to play. The arm was forward back and come back over, and it was spinning, and the disc was slap flat, and the spin, and it would cause this wear. It would just buff those labels down over time. So the more times it got thrown on the stacker and got played, the more likely it would end up looking like this. So, anyways, next up, we've got Good Luck Charm. And we've got that Jordanaires credit on there again. And very cool. B-side, or possibly A-side, anything that's part of you. So, don't know those two songs. Elvis is going to have a whole bunch of 45s that he put out that I'm not going to necessarily be familiar with, unless it's one of his songs from his movies or a song that was a big hit for him. Of course, I'm going to know like his top 50 big hits or whatever, because as I said before, my mother was a huge Elvis Presley fan, and we heard Elvis in the household, that's for sure. This one here is Money Honey, which seems to ring a little bit of a bell for me, but I couldn't hum it to you, which you might just be grateful for. And the B side of that one being One-Sided Love Affair, which reminds me of another song by somebody else, but this one doesn't ring a bell for me either. So, next up, we've got a big hunk of love from Mr. Elvis Presley and the Jordanaires again. So, hunk of love. And what could be on the B side of that? Maybe it says My Wish Came True. We've got some label damage there that's preventing me from being able to read that first word. But if I had to guess, what was My Wish Came True for 100? All right. Next up, ooh, kind of a cool different label here. Pretty much all these Elvises are going to be RCA Victors. So we've got some other different companies' labels, but as I've explained numerous times, that's because of jukeboxes and people loading and unloading them. But we've got Good Rockin' Tonight, which is a good Elvis song. You see that a little bit better if I get a little angle on it. Sometimes the silver on black looks just fine laying flat, and sometimes, especially with some label wear, it makes it difficult. I don't care if the sun don't shine. I don't care if the sun don't shine. That's my guess at this one, because it's a little bit a little bit more than just a little bit worn. And the B-sides are the ones that would take the bulk of that stacking damage, because that was the side that was falling down, hitting the other one and spinning. Of course, the A side was getting some damage too, but those B-sides do seem to be just a little bit more worn than the A sides from people playing them on those stackers the way that they did. So here's an interesting Decca sleeve, which we've seen numerous times in the previous videos, but not in this one. And I forgot to remember to forget. And I always liked the little dog, looking in the, I think that was their logo right from day one, going all the way back to the beginning of RCA. But I always liked that. I thought that was really cute with the dog looking in the megaphone. Kind of reminds me of my dog barking at the TV when we had the wagon train. Was it wagon train or what was that dog food? But it had the wagon and it'd drive through and the dogs were chasing it. Yeah. If you're my age and you watch TV, you know what I'm talking about. You remember that commercial. B-side of this being a song called Mystery Train, which I do believe has been covered by a number of artists since then. Recorded in 1955, so we're going back to the early days here. I forgot to remember to forget it was also recorded in 1955, so there's another good indicator that that was a reissue. And a lot of these RCA early ones that all have the exact same black label with the dog and the megaphone, or whatever you call that phonograph thing. I don't think it's called a megaphone, but anyways, they're all the same. There's not much difference until we get up until they change to like an orange colored, dark yellow, deep yellow, orange colored label. But anyways, here we've got Wild in the Country from the movie Wild in the Country, which I do have. I think that one also had the I Dream a Genie lady on there, which I mentioned previously in a video that I recorded today, but it might not have been Elvis. It might have been the novelty records that I did this morning. So anyways, moving on, getting to the point. The B-side is a song called I Feel So Bad. Alrighty. Next up, we've got, An American Trilogy. I'm pretty sure that was the A side of this one, but again, where it's a reissue one, we're talking February 17th, 72 when he recorded that, according to the original label notes. And the B side was from June 8th of 71, Until It's Time for You to Go, from the Elvis Now album. So I'm assuming that quite probably in this particular instance, this was a new song. This was his new Up Until It's Time for You to Go. And no. American Trilogy was from 72, not 71. So, yeah, anyways, gold standards, reissues, two different songs, two different years. Here we've got You're a Heartbreaker, back to 1955 again. So we've got another older song. Like I said, I didn't try to put the research and the effort into putting these in chronological order. I just went ahead with putting them in the order that I kind of sort of knew. I did pull all of the 4-track ones out, and we'll have a nice long run of those where I've got quite a few Elvis 45s that have 2 songs on each side and are predominantly from his film soundtracks. But I grouped those together. I put all the picture sleeves at the end. We do have a nice group of picture sleeves that we're going to have to look at as well. B-side here being Milk Cow Blues Boogie. And I do remember Aerosmith doing a song called Milk Cow Blues. I'm not sure if it's in any way similar to this one. But a lot of those old blues classics got redone a ton by rock and roll musicians over all the eras, not just the 50s or the 60s, but even 70s, 80s, 90s. Even Megadeth doing I Ain't Superstitious, that was just an old classic blues number, you know. So it's a lot of old classic blues that got done numerous times by numerous bands over the years. And blues were basically the foundations of rock and roll. It was the beginning of the rock and roll era. So that's not unusual that you would see so many of the songs, the old classic blues songs, redone by rock and roll artists. Here we got It Feels So Right by Elvis and the Jordanaires again. And the B-side being Such an Easy Question. Yeah, some of the easiest questions don't have the easiest answers. That's for sure. All right, so enough of my philosophy. Elvis Presley doing Stuck on You, which I do think I seem to remember that song. And what could possibly be on the B-side of that? Fame and Fortune. Yeah, that was a Bad Company album. Again, you see so many references throughout time. You think something might have been unique or new, and it's just old, turned around and brought up again. And next up, Kentucky Rain. I definitely do remember that song by being done by Elvis. And not the old Kentucky Home, but Kentucky Rain. He did Kentucky Home too, I do believe. B-side being My Little Friend. And looks like that was written by a woman, Cheryl Milletti. Recorded January 16, 1969, according to the label here. And what was Kentucky Rain? February 19, 1969. So there you go. All right. Well, we're going to definitely have a couple more parts to wrap up these Elvis ones. So be sure to come back and join us for those if you're having a good time like I am. Have a great day.